Lille is an incredibly old medieval city, and it was one of the most important cities in medieval times because it was built on an island and was very defensible, and therefore every king wanted to conquer Ely. In fact, William the Conqueror took England in one day, but it took him 4 years to take the island of Ely. They held out that long. And I love coming to places which are the backgrounds to my novels, because I think it's really important to actually walk in the streets that people used to walk in, and to look at the buildings and to actually be in the buildings and imagine what they were like years ago. The top floor of this was the sacristy, and the sacristy was really the office where all the building works were appointed, and where all the materials coming in for the building works for the cathedral and the abbey were counted in and counted out. The workers were paid, all of the food was bought, all of the provisions for the cathedral, which would include anything from the candles to the robes to the gold chalices, even down to the canes that were used on the little boys in the school. That was the job of the sacrist, to actually order all of these items and to keep stock of them. And if you can imagine, this building was really like the hub of a great industrial building site. Today, if you went onto a building site on a factory, you can imagine all the people milling around and goods coming and going, lorries coming and going. In those days, it would have been carts and boats coming and going. And it was the job of in this building, that was where everything was tallied up on the floor above us. On this floor, this is where the goldsmith worked. And there was such a lot of gold and silver having to be produced for the cathedral, for the walls, for the robes, for the chalices and things. The goldsmith and his apprentices would have been kept busy in this building the whole time. People would have worked incredibly long hours, and you can imagine the carts rolling in and rolling out, much like lorries would today. The poor little apprentices would have been running around madly trying to pump up the fires and the bellows in this particular room. And this room probably would have been whitewashed as it is today, but it would also have been quite blackened with the smoke of the fires and everything else that was happening. And you can imagine that it would have been a very hot place to work with all these fires going, and also the smoke from the fire. It would have been quite an unpleasant place in many ways to work. The master goldsmith himself probably would have worked separately, putting the finishing touches to the items, but very, very kind of busy sort of place here.